Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to episode 10 of Digimon Adventure 2020. So before we get into anything, I do want to mention real quick that due to next week's theme week being One Piece week, we will not be reacting to Digimon Adventure next week. Meaning, in 2 weeks, we will be doing 2 episodes of Digimon Adventure. We'll have to do episode 11 and 12 because we'll have to catch up. It's gonna suck not getting to it next week. I think I mentioned this in another video that I hate like being behind on stuff, and I like to, especially with like currently airing things like this. But I want to do this One Piece week. I really want to do this One Piece week, so we're going to put it on hold for next week. But yeah, so last we left off, we kind of left off on a cliffhanger. After the entire thing with liberating the fortress, Ogremon arrived and started like basically throwing a fit, wanting a rematch and stuff. So Tai and Agumon agreed to give a rematch, Digivolve to Greymon, and they fought. At least until Metal Tyrannomon came in. Metal Tyrannomon started causing trouble, and Ogremon and Greymon had to turn their attention to him. And Ogremon ended up sacrificing himself to protect his new friends, those he found great respect for. And I want to say this right off the bat, and I think that I might have mentioned it last time, but just in case, this kind of thing's been done in many different anime, many different video games, American cartoons, etc., etc. The idea of a bad guy becoming a good guy because of the respect that they gain for the good guy. You could technically say Dragon Ball Z did this back in the day with Vegeta. Vegeta very much has respect for Goku. He very much acknowledges his ability, his strength, his skill in combat. And he did end up joining his side and working with him on many occasions in order to fight off the bad guys. He still wanted to become stronger than Goku, and he still wanted to beat Goku in battle. That was always his goal. But he respected Goku, and because of it, he joined his side and even sacrificed himself at one point in order to try and destroy Majin Buu. He actually did pull off a sacrifice, and it wasn't just for Goku, it was also for his family, Bulma and Trunks and all of that. But it was partially for Goku. And he even admitted that. He was willing to sacrifice himself for these people that he grew to care about. And again, this has been done in many other things, so it's not exactly original, but I think the way they handled it in this series was really well done. Because Ogremon has been a recurring antagonist since they got to the digital world. Like, he's been the recurring antagonist with, of course, Devimon pulling the strings in the background throughout this entire time so far. So, to see him come in and start talking about how his horns are his pride and having one of them broken hurt his pride and made him want to have that rematch and everything, and then seeing him respecting his opponents so much that he's willing to sacrifice his very life to protect them. That's really cool. And it was really well done and really believable. That's the big thing. With these kind of situations, it has to be believable. You have to believe that the character would make this sacrifice. It was definitely believable with Vegeta, and it's definitely believable here with Ogremon. By the way, I'm not even a Dragon Ball Z fan, really. There's parts of it I like, but it's like, I'm not a fan overall. But even I admit that that moment, like when Vegeta sacrificed himself like that to try and stop Majin Buu, that made me cry. That was powerful and easily one of the best moments in all of Dragon Ball. But we're not talking about that today. So Ogremon sacrificed himself, but before he did, he showed them the way they need to go in order to find the Holy Digimon, which is their goal at the moment. So yeah, Ogremon is a bro. um, but yeah, so I was left at the end of last episode questioning, will they take Ogremon's advice and just leave, or will we get Metal Greymon? And I have no idea where this is going to go, but I honestly believe, just my theory is that we're going to get Metal Greymon for two reasons. One, there's no way Tai is not going to want to avenge Ogremon. Tai is not only just courageous, that being his entire thing, to where he's not going to run away from a fight, but on top of that, you know Tai and Agumon very heavily respected Ogremon too, and especially after that sacrifice. There is no way they are going to run away and let his and not avenge him. They are so going to avenge him. But also, too, we at this point have not seen an ultimate level Digimon. At this point, it's almost kind of unheard of. All of the Digimon we've seen have been champion or below, and most of the Digimon that we've fought have been champion level. And have required the Digivolution into Greymon to defeat, or the others, of course. Togemon, Bergemon, Ikakumon. But it's episode 10 now, and again, I don't know exactly how long the series is going to end up running overall, but it's about time we do step things up a little bit. And while the series could end up being very long and could end up maybe needing a little bit of pacing, I don't think we're going to get a mega level Digimon for still quite a while. Outside of Omnimon, which was just like a little special thing we saw. But yeah, I think it's about time we got an ultimate, but we're not going to get all of these ultimates right away. Like with every Digidestined, I'm still going to call them that, by the way, that we meet, we always see their champion levels pretty much the same episode that we meet them. So it's like, I think it's going to be different with the ultimate because we're not meeting them anymore. So the ultimate levels, I think they're going to spread out a little more. They're going to have a little more space between them, and they're only going to come out like when it's really a big deal, when it's really necessary. Now, also another thing to note is we still don't have TK and Patamon. They still haven't joined the group, and I still presume that it has to be that Patamon, or evolving into Angemon, that's got to be the Holy Digimon, right? So I still think that's where they're headed, but it's really interesting that they introduce all these other characters, but then they take a break before TK and Patamon. And I mean, I expected a break before Kari and Gatomon, but still, it's like, this is like, okay. But yeah, so we still got to be introduced to them eventually. But in the meantime, yeah. I think we are going to get our first taste of Ultimate this episode, but I don't think we're going to get Ultimates very often, and I don't think we're going to get another Ultimate anytime right soon. Also, I think the next Ultimate we do get will probably end up being Matt's, which will be Were Garurumon, rather. Were Garurumon will likely be the next one. It just makes, I feel, the most sense. But, I mean, they might save that one for last, to be fair, out of the characters we have so far. I don't know. We'll have to see. But either way, I'm very much enjoying this series as I've talked about before. And I really hope you guys are enjoying the reactions to it. Um, so yeah, for now, for now, let's just get this started and hope for the best. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black, then it fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in today, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so yeah, I was correct. It wasn't too hard to figure out that we would end up seeing Metal Greymon here. But yeah, that was epic. That was probably the best way they could have shown him. Although there was very little screen time for Metal Greymon, that's not unexpected. It was basically just a Digivolution necessary in order to defeat Metal Tyrannomon. It wasn't meant to be like this big showcase of the Digivolution, the ultimate level form in this situation. It was a necessity in order to win. Now on that note, I do want to address the end real quick. Splitting up is a terrible idea. Like, one, they could easily just fly over the miasma on Birdramon. Like, why are they not thinking of this? I know they're kids, and they're gonna not necessarily think of every smart plan every time. I understand. But seriously, it's like that would seem like the most obvious route right from the start to me. It's like you have a Digimon that can fly. Not only that, has the ability to carry everyone on it while flying, right? Easily. Everyone would be able to hold on to it. There's no reason why they couldn't fly over it. But instead, they decide, oh, we have to go around, but there's two ways, so which way is the right way? And it's like, well, why don't we just split up? It's like, where did you come up with that logic? Like, even if you choose to go around, which is like, okay, whatever, whatever. Why would you split up? Just because there's two different directions you can go into? Why can't you just all go the same direction? And Matt's entire point of, well, this way, if one of our groups gets attacked, we won't all be wiped out. It's like, I really doubt you're going to get all wiped out. I really doubt all of you are going to get wiped out. And if that's going to happen, it's going to happen easier if you're split up. Because that way you don't have as much protection immediately. Your groups are smaller. By essence, they are weaker overall. It just feels like a dumb move. I'm sorry. It just really does. But they know where they're headed. They just have to get there at this point, and it's like, Also, no matter what, like even if you have the two heavy hitters, Matt and Ty, on different teams, only one team's going to be able to have Izzy. That's a notable thing. Izzy is kind of a big fucking deal. One of the teams is going to be massively disadvantaged just from not having him. And aren't they kind of uneven right now? Let's see, there's Matt and Ty, right? Then there's two girls, Sora and Mimi. Not necessarily on the teams they would go on, just counting them. And then there's Joe. And is okay, no, there's the right amount. Okay, never mind. I was wrong. I was thinking they were mismatched for some reason. But still, like, the teams that I think would make the most... I would think that Sora would end up going with Ty. I feel like they would work better together. And definitely Izzy would go with Ty. So then the other team would have Joe and Mimi with Matt, and it feels really unbalanced to have them split up like this. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. And I'm not saying that to hate on Joe or Mimi or their Digimon partners. I'm just saying, in comparison, it just seems super unbalanced in comparison to what the other team would be. And even if Sora goes with Matt, it's like, then what would Mimi be with Taya? It's like I'm just really lost on how this is going to go. And now I have to wait 2 weeks to see what happens next because we're doing One Piece week next week. So it's like, ugh. I don't know. I don't know. So I was surprised that they chose to run at the beginning of this. I understand why now, but it just took me by surprise at first because it just seems like something Ty wouldn't do. And you could see it didn't sit right with him. He basically blatantly said that it didn't sit right with him, that he didn't want to run at all. And he definitely, and it was brought up about Ogremon too, and it was very clear that he wanted to get revenge for Ogremon. So it was really cool to see. It was really cool to see them kind of address that. But again, I do understand why they ran. That part I can agree with. Because Agumon was hurt. Agumon needed time to rest. So that one I do get at least. And them being chased into the forest by Metal Tyrannomon and the Soundbirdmon looking for them and all like that, I'm good with as well, obviously. So it all turned out well. There wasn't too much else to this episode. We did get to see Izzy kind of flex his brain muscles, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it, in this one by analyzing where to go and everything and figuring out like the path they should take and all of that jazz. Izzy was definitely a great asset in this one. But then again, Izzy's always a great asset. Like, seriously, I feel Izzy is super underrated. Whenever I hear people talk about Digimon, like the original Digimon, obviously prior to this one coming out, people always talk about Matt. They always talk about Ty. They always talk about even Kari and TK. But Izzy is like when people talk about their favorite characters from the original Digimon Adventure, they never talk about Izzy. I never hear people talking about Izzy. I feel he's so underrated. He's such a valuable asset to the team. He's so just insanely useful and even on top of just the usefulness from his intelligence, he is good. And Kabuterimon or Tentamon or whatever you want, whichever form you want to refer to, is very good. It's like he's not one to be looked down upon. And it's like I know like he it's not so much that people look down on him, it's more that people just never really talk about him as much, I feel. Mimi is the one who's looked down upon. Mimi and Joe, to be fair. They're the ones who are looked down upon, and even I think that's unfair with both of them. But still. And I mean, I admit I've done that. But still, the point is, Izzy is so much looked down upon, or like just ignored, really, as a valuable member of the team, and he's so fucking valuable. He's so fucking needed. And this episode really proved it. um, but yeah, it's like I just don't agree with this plan that they have for splitting up. I cannot find a logical, just not reason. That's not the word. Basis, I guess. I cannot find a logical basis for them splitting up that makes more sense than sticking together. They're weakening their forces. It's going to be much easier to pick them off like this. This is a bad idea. Why do you think when people watch horror movies, they always say, never split up? In fact, that's kind of a meme when it comes to horror movies. You never split up. Even with like stuff like D&D, you never split the party. It's always a bad idea because it weakens the overall forces and makes you easier to pick off. When the party is together, you are stronger. Strength in numbers. It increases the ease in which you are able to defeat and take out an enemy. It increases your chances of being able to take out an enemy. In every way, it's smarter to stick together. in every scenario. And yet they choose to split up on the flimsy logic that if this way they won't be completely wiped out if one party ends up getting attacked. It's such flimsy logic. Like, oh my god. And again, I know they're kids. I get that. I understand that they are young. They are dumb. Like, they're very smart for kids, all things considered, but a lot of shows do that, to be completely honest. A lot of shows make kids smarter than they actually would be at that age. Like, kids can be very smart, mind you. But TV shows and especially anime make kids out to be much smarter than they would be at that age. Um, that's just a television show, movie, video game kind of thing to do. Um, but still, yeah, I know kids are supposed to be kind of naive and not really come up with the best plans all the time, but it's like I kind of appreciate that they're showing that here, that kids can be quite dumb and naive and come up with bad ideas. But at the same time, it's like it's irritating. It is so fucking irritating because it's such a bad plan. It is such a bad idea. It is just so irritatingly bad. I'm not even mad at the show or whatnot, at the writers for technically doing that. That's not even why I'm mad. I'm just mad at the plan itself. It's so fucking dumb. Because again, they're kids, and I understand. And again, I'm actually kind of glad that the writers are doing that, making the kids kind of be dumb on occasion. Um, so it's like, even Izzy, who's like unnaturally smart for his age, which is kind of his deal. He is like prodigiously intelligent. But it's like he's still a kid and he's still gonna make naive, dumb moves. So I like seeing that they're still even doing that with him here. I don't know. I just feel like this is a terrible idea. It really is. But it's what we're going with. So nothing we can do about it. um Tell me in the comments below, though, what you thought of this episode of Digimon Adventure 2020. And once again, just as a reminder, there is not going to be a reaction to Digimon next week. Next week is One Piece week, and aside from the Pokemon Crystal Nuzlocke, which will be continuing to be uploaded every day, there will be no other reactions next week besides One Piece. It is a theme week. If you're not into One Piece, that's fine. That's fine. You don't have to watch every video I put up. I don't expect everyone to. In fact, I would actually be really surprised if anyone does watch everything I put up. I understand some shows are not going to appeal to some people. But yeah, it's like, it's mostly just for me. I've been super into One Piece and again lately, and it's just, I want to do a week to kind of, one, catch up a little bit quicker on the series because we are so far behind. Over, like, actually, I think around maybe 100 episodes at this point. Something like that. But still, want to catch up on that. Plus, I just want to do a week just dedicated to, honestly, what is one of my favorite anime of all time. One of my favorite shows of all time. So, yeah. Either way, like I said, tell me in the comments below what you thought of this episode of Digimon. We'll be back in 2 weeks with 2 episodes. Episodes 11 and 12. But in the meantime, thank you all so much for tuning in. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.